and Chris was just finishing his point. Go ahead,
No, I was
Chris.
going to ask. So, what do you do at a religious camp like that?
So a lot of it is, so we had archery, we had rifle, horseback riding, lots of it, cause it's a ranch. But then you have your church pretty much every day. Swimming, cause we had, kayaks, canoes. It was a full-fledged camp, just, with God packed in the center.
All on the up and up. No shenanigans that you ever saw.
Oh, there were some shenanigans that I saw. Like I was just explaining before, us driving around the truck and driving into the cafeteria.
No, I mean, like the shenanigans you hear about religious camps.
Oh, those types of shenanigans? Yeah, there were definitely
like music camp stuff.
Yeah, like
Band
one
camp.
time at band camp, absolutely. You're a bunch of teenagers, away from your parents, and the only people that are watching over you are 20-year-olds who are just have as high as a libido as teenagers.
Wow, this sounds
They
like
just
some
know what they're
Crystal
doing.
Lake shit is going to go down.
No, there was no killing or drowning of any kids named Jason. We were okay.
Well, and
There
then you
was
just
that
told me
Kathy girl. So okay. So I'll tell you this. We I was getting really big into wrestling then. And this one girl wanted to be one of the boys.
And you wanted to wrestle like George Takei.
Yeah, big time. No uniform though. So she wanted to be one of the Oh my. Apparently you only said that once, eh?
Yeah.
In the entire Star Trek. Mind you, Star Trek only lasted 2 seasons. I found out that recently.
No, I thought it was 3.
Fair. But that's not a long time for what it became, like
You're digressing.
yes, I am. Yeah, we're going all over the place. So this one chick, the boys were wrestling. This one chick wanted to wrestle like the boys. So I got her into a chokehold, right? And I wrapped my legs around her waist and we fell to the ground, almost like a DDT. And I'm like, you can tap. Anytime you can tap. And she would not tap. The reason why? Well, I said, you know what? We got to get the game started. So I let go of her and then I flipped her over. Her face is straight blue. I guillotined her. I guillotined her and she was out and she pissed herself.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. In front of the entire 6 to 8-year-old kids. And it was bad. Like they took her to the hospital and I had never sworn more in my life at a Christian camp.
So hold on.
During
To
that
answer your
moment.
question, what do they do at Christian camp? Well, after shit like that, they pray.
We prayed. I was praying very hard.
I would too.
I was praying very hard. I thought I killed her.
I'm not a praying man, but I would start.
I definitely thought I killed her. But yeah, that's what we do at
funny
Christian
side
camps.
note.
Yeah, go ahead.
That woman became his wife. And now they just
No.
40 years later, they just had their first kid.
After she woke up from her coma.
Right?
Yeah, that was part of that's why I didn't have to go to jail. I had to wet her. There was some brain damage.
I was just about to say how you married her because of the brain damage. Or, sorry, she married you because of the brain damage.
That's better. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
All right, so let's talk about some comic stuff because that's what we love to do. So you have a fun topic today, Jordan. Let's talk about that.
So I've been going over this and we've wanted to do this for months and, just our schedules haven't matched up. So what I wanted to talk about is because we're finally doing it. Batman versus Spider-Man. There are a lot of different correlations between Batman and Spider-Man.
Let's be clear. We're not talking about Batman versus Spider-Man in a fight.
Not at all.
So elaborate.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm out.
Right? Okay. Who would win? Who would win? Who would you win to win? Oh, wow.
Spider-Man.
Oh, wow.
Spider-Man would beat Batman's ass. So we don't even need to have that discussion. Yeah. And
what about with prep time?
I don't give a shit about prep. This is such the dumbest fallacy about
time?
Spider-Sense sensing bullshit.
Prep time. Look, Bruce Wayne can take all the anti-AIDS pills he wants. He's still not going to beat Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, if he loses the Bane, think about Spider-Man. Anyways, right? Anyways, so
It's not fair there. It's not fair. Spider-Man is just way more powerful. He's just
Yeah.
stronger and faster. He's got superpowers. It's like, come on.
well, and here's the other argument you were gonna get. Batman is 4-0 against Superman in the comics.
Because he,
Bullshit.
because he took his prep medication.
He took his prep medication and used, what was it in Hush? He threw Lois Lane off a building
Yeah.
to snap Superman out of it. Oh yeah, great times.
Yeah.
So what do I mean? I mean, Batman and Spider-Man, we're going to talk about the movies to start off. They've both been rebooted 3 times. They both had one hell of a cartoon in the 90s. They both have 2 of the greatest rogue galleries in comics. So that's what I want to talk about. They're supporting casts. You know, I think we won't get this all done in one day.
We're comparing the 2 as an entertainment piece. Is that
Exactly.
which one has the better product? Which
Yeah.
one has had the better run of various products?
Which one was better done? What's the best? Which franchise? Which
Yeah, all the
translation works
aspects.
better?
So you're right.
Yeah.
This might be more than one episode. What translates better from film or from book to film, or even to TV screen, cartoons and otherwise? What has had more iterations? And if we have to look stuff up, we will. What has had the better success box office wise or sales wise? Again, I'm sure we'll have to look that up. So overall, we're just trying to figure out what is the better franchise, not who's the better fighter or who's more powerful, because that's easy. And all the Batman fans and DC fanboys are wrong. All right.
And we didn't need prep time to come up with that decision.
Right. We got AIDS all on our own.
everybody's got AIDS. Man.
We should run some prep ads while we're talking about this. Maybe we could get prep sponsorship.
Sponsored by Kryptonite, LexCorp.
That's funny. That's funny.
That creepy prep ad where the big bald delivery dude is like hitting on the Asian guy. Have you seen that?
No.
Dude, again, you need to insert that when you edit this.
Okay.
I'll send
Just
you
like
a
a little
link.
gif of it. Yeah.
I'll send you a link.
Every time we say prep, we'll have one of them smiling.
It's the creepiest smiles too. You do. Oh my God, dude. Hang on.
I don't want to see it.
He's got to show it. He's got
I
to
have
show
no
it.
need.
Can we get DMCA'd for this? We're going to find out.
I'd rather get Daryl DMC.
Oh my goodness.
Even the poster frame is creepy. All right, let me see what I can do here. Let's go with. Ooh,
Share screen?
yeah, hang on. Ooh. I'm trying. Oh, it's you know what? I'll find it. Let's roll with it, and we'll figure stuff out.
Yeah, we'll
I'm
figure it
going to
out.
start praying that you don't.
All right. So let's start with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, because we've already talked a little bit about Tim Burton's Batman in past episodes. So let's talk about.
Sorry, fellas. I'm a little bit late to the channel here. But I just want to get one thing out of the way about both of these characters' translations to any size screen. And I would say that number one, all the Batman movies suck. They never really got Batman right at all. And Adam West is the best. And as far as Spider-Man goes, I think most of the movies are pretty crappy, but they've had some better individuals. Spider-Man 2 by Sam Raimi, I thought was fantastic. I like the mix-ups
Chris, Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2, which is called Spider-Man 1 with window dressing.
Well, anyway, and the other thing that I would say about that is the cartoon is the best. Spider-Man, the 60s or 70s.
Oh,
one.
the
As
60s.
is,
Yeah.
as is the Batman cartoon,
Oh, yeah, the Batman cartoon is the best as well. Yeah.
which a lot of people don't even know is one of the only instances of we lost Hank.
We lost him. That's okay.
It's one of the only instances of a character being created outside of the comics that was then brought into the comics.
Would that be Robin?
Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn. Okay, sorry. Yes, that is correct. She had so much popularity that they did bring her into the comics. I like Harley as a character. I don't like where she's going now. This anti-hero and her TV show. I mean, I watched it.
It's crazy.
It's well, making Jim Gordon a drunk was. I never got it. Never understood why they would do that, but they did it, and this is real. This I don't think it's canon now. So now let's see if we'll stall a little bit to see if we can get Hank back.
He said his phone overheated.
Yep, I see that. Call you back. He will call us back. That's funny. Okay.
He's got a really high quality phone.
Right? Well, he's in Nam, right? They don't really have
No, he's in Taiwan.
Taiwan. Sorry.
Your racism is showing.
I was watching a Andrew Schultz bit the other day, and he was talking about if China invades Taiwan, it's like, who do we know who to shoot? How do we know who to shoot? We're gonna need skins versus shirts.
Yeah, it's like when the LAPD fights the gang wars, and they have to wear the color of the day, or so movies have told
Right?
me.
Hey, we got some chat going on. How do I show that? I know I can. Oh, there it is. This button here. Look, here we go. Sorry to bother you. Sorry for bothering you. I want to offer promotion of your channel, viewers, followers, and views, chatbots, etc. The price is lower than any other competitor. The quality is guaranteed to be the best. Fuck off.
I bet it is. Do the bots have Indian accents too?
Yeah, right? So good. So good. All right. Okay. His phone overheated, and then it just shut down on him. So
That's what happens when you buy one from a Taiwan street corner.
amazing. So, okay, we can go with the cartoons for now. You said the best and the best. So, Spider-Man 60s or Spider-Man the animated show in the 90s?
No. The animated show in the 90s. The 60s one was what it was, but it was kind of a joke, right? Like
It was.
It's iconic, don't get me wrong. That theme song,
Yep.
all you have to do is say Spider-Man and people know the rest
They
of the
know
song.
it. Yep.
So, and you know, everyone, not just comic geeks like us, right? Like everyone knows
It
that
hit the
theme.
normies. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what'd be great is if we could. Where is? How can I hang on? If too bad we can't fill in Hank's window. With somebody else. And there's my cat tapping at me. You're gonna start clawing me. Man, you know you have too many windows open when you can't even find the window to share within the Restream app. I can't hear you.
Probably muted. Is that better?
Yes.
I clicked the button because someone came down the stairs.
Oh, I see.
Hey, what's up?
Who's that? Diggs?
Diggs BT Dub.
Right on.
One.
I don't
How you
know
doing,
who
buddy?
that is.
We're just talking about Batman and Spider-Man. And so, the original Spider-Man cartoon kind of started the whole. I've heard theories that it's not theories, but examples that it is the original Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because in that show, it had everybody. It had the X-Men, and it had the Avengers, it had the Fantastic Four. Then it had its spin-offs as well.
Right.
Oh, that's cool. Can I switch that? No, I can't.
You're not hearing that playing from my thing.
Very vague.
This is the worst ever. What the hell?
Very small. I can hear it.
I tried to share this screen and it started playing a video out of nowhere. Oh, there it is.
What, like an ad?
No, a video I have open that I was partially watching and then haven't gotten back to. So,
Amazing.
like the other 92 billion windows that I have open on my system.
Yep. That's always fun.
Like another one I just opened because, I want to watch that later.
You want to keep that. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. Hank, don't you have a computer now? He spilled wine on his computer a while ago, and then
That's so good.
he finally just got a new one.
Yeah, because that works.
Oh, I just saw it. What the fuck?
What, the video?
Yeah, like when I click to share, it opens up a list of windows I have open, and I've got like, easily 200 windows open.
Jesus. Okay, I'm like 20 sometimes. And that's as much as I'll go. I'll start clearing them all off because I'm not getting to that. We're going back to it.
I try that from time to time, and then I fail.
You start opening up more windows?
Yeah.
Of course. Because, that makes sense. Oh, I have a friend anniversary to look up. I wonder if, let's meet that. Oh, that's good. Okay. Boom. Should I share it? Not yet. Not yet. All right, let's keep things moving, I guess.
Yeah. So when it comes to, we'll go back to the cartoons. So the 90s Spider-Man cartoon was really good. Now, mind you, you don't know, I think, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, do you?
No, before my time.
Right.
That was in between the 60s and the 90s, right?
That was early 80s, yeah.
Yeah.
And on Saturday mornings at 11 and then 11:30, at 11 o'clock, we got Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, which was young Peter Parker living in New York City with his roommates, Bobby Drake and, why can't I think of her name? Angelica Firestorm, anyways. So Firestorm and Iceman were his roommates. And they had Aunt May, I believe, would pop in to visit. Either that or she was like living in the next room or something. And
it's like his college years?
Yeah, essentially that's what they were going for. Here you go. We'll just keep Andrew. Do you get that? Oh,
how I do this now? It says you want to share your screen.
Yeah.
Where do I click? Share. Oh, Batman. No. Window. Try clicking it again. Also share system audio. Why? Oh, wait. Do I go here? Yes, this is where I go. Oh my God. No. 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 No.
Can I zoom in?
I can. Let me see what I can do.
Here we go. It's the perfect pause, too.
And this is why, folks, Batman needs prep time.
Everyone needs prep, and you can get it delivered.
You're just in time.
Package for you, sir.
Oh, fun. Must be from Freddy.
Oh, yeah? Who's Freddy?
They're actually...
There you go. Okay, so when it comes to... I can't do it. I gotta stop.
Were you just about to do an ad for them?
No, I was going to continue talking.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Oh, look, Hank's back. With
Hank's
his,
back. Computer?
Yeah, I showed up just like 30 seconds too early. See that wretched ad?
So,
Well, I just caught the end of it. What was it selling? Gay sex?
no. PrEP.
Prep. So you can.
PrEP is a pill that apparently prevents you from getting AIDS. But for some reason, all the ads focus on gay men. It's weird. It's really weird.
Huh?
Because
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
since the 80s, they've told us that it's not. Anyways, so Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends was followed up by, at 11:30, we got a Hulk cartoon. So there was like a bona fide Hulk cartoon. And
He was Gray Hulk, right?
Nope.
No, he was green?
Hulk, full on Green Hulk. And both of these shows started off with an intro and usually an outro from Stan the Man. So you would get your Saturday morning fill of that unique Stan Lee voice. Introducing,
Hey kids, Stan Lee here.
Hey, true believers.
True Believers, yeah, with his New York accent, it was amazing. That was the Amazing Friends was another good cartoon by Spidey.
And it was extra special when you would get episodes where they would throw in, say, Captain America or the X-Men. And for whatever reason, Wolverine was Australian.
Really?
Yeah.
That sucks.
It was such a funny thing. And as a Canadian kid, you're sitting there going, why did they pick an Australian actor? Or maybe he wasn't even an Australian actor and he just put on an Australian voice. It was either way, it was weird. And
that show came out before Crocodile Dundee, so it doesn't make any sense.
right. It wasn't like playing into the Aussie craze of like 86, 87, whatever it was. We would always joke about it and say that was what Americans thought Canadians were.
What does it mean? Like, this is retarded because Australian. Wolverines don't live in Australia. They live in the Arctic, like the Northwest Territories.
You guys have heard about the Hugh Jackman story, right?
Yes, he thought he was playing a wolf.
He thought he was playing a wolf, so we started watching wolf documentaries and going to the zoo. And
That's hilarious.
yeah, and so when he showed up and he was doing some of the test stuff, he was. I'm not putting it on again. I'm not putting it on again. I'm like, who's coming on here? And there's the Asian guy with that weird ass smile again. And he's watching it right now. I can see him playing it.
I'm trying to get to it.
And super inclusive.
I'm on prep too. It's nice to have something that takes tension out of HIV, isn't it? I didn't know about Freddy.
Yeah. Comes super fast.
Oh my
It's
god.
hard to get.
Okay.
So easy.
Okay. Get this out of here.
Yeah, you
Oh
guys
my
can watch that on repeat later when I'm not around if you want. I don't care.
Yeah, we get it. You're heterosexual. All right, moving on.
Unbelievable.
I just can't remember the comic talk.
And that's not comical?
I didn't say comical talk.
But
So anyway, so even the 60s Spider-Man cartoon, iconic, the lesser known Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, still good, but again, it's one of those things, it's like the Tim Burton Batman, is we didn't have anything else at the time. Super Friends, I think, was only ever in repeats at that time, because I think Super Friends went from what? Like 70, 76, 77 to like 81.
Yeah,
So-
that sounds about right.
We had it if you had it on repeats, but it was usually like, obscure times and stuff like that. There was no regularly scheduled good superhero stuff for young boys to be able to watch.
But also around that time in the early 80s, they had the Batman cartoon with Adam West as the voice.
Right. But
So-
again,
so
what was
that
that,
was
one
killer.
season?
yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
too
But
long.
my
And
point is-
then they had super tight guest appearances, cameo / appearances in Scooby-Doo episodes, right? Like
there wasn't a big.
Adam
There,
West
yeah,
Batman.
yes, they did that as well. but there was not a big gap there because then the Superpowers toy line came out in like what 84, early 84, and so
Yep.
it
then Secret
segued.
Wars.
Yeah, and so it, like that they were never out of the spotlight for that long, so there
Right.
wasn't a thing.
But we didn't have much, and we had this, so we were able to make allowances to the shitty animation, the like in the G.I. Joe era, where you'd have certain characters speaking, but it was another character's voice and stuff like that, and you're just like, wait a second, I'm not an idiot. I know what Beachhead sounds like, and that's not it. Or all of a sudden, Beachhead's balaclava was rolled up as a toque or beanie for you Americans. But you know what else they didn't have in the 80s?
What's that?
Prep.
I knew you were going to say that.
Right? I'm like, he's leading me down to something, and I'm not going to like it, but I'm going to bite. You're
So-
right. They didn't.
And that's why so many people got it. Oh, sorry. So many dudes, people got AIDS. It was because they didn't have the prep time of Batman, Bruce Wayne, the world's greatest detective.
So is that why it didn't work with Shaq? He wasn't. Anyways.
It wasn't prep. They couldn't
Or
figure it
with
out.
Magic Johnson.
So I was
Sorry.
going to say,
Magic
you're throwing
Johnson?
Shaq under the bus
Yeah,
here.
right. Surprise to this just in.
And arguably Patrick Swayze. Anyways, so
You know what? You better not. You're lucky Sweezy's dead, and you, pal, you better hope that Shaq doesn't hear what you've been saying about him.
So Dennis believes that Batman for the win, but we're winning what though? So what we're talking about is who has the better overall portfolio, not who would win in a fight, because everyone knows Batman would lose. Spider-Man's just too powerful. He's got his Spidey sense, which far outweighs detective prepping skills. So anyway, so where were we? We were talking about the
The
cartoons.
cartoons.
So moving on to the 90s, you've got arguably
The two greatest?
the two best iterations. You've got the 90s Spider-Man cartoon and the Batman cartoon. The two, in my opinion, best takes from comic to screen of either of those characters and their overall environment and lore, everything. So they conveyed comic book stories. And Hank, you were gone, but I pointed out that not a lot of people realize the Batman cartoon is one of the only instances of a reversal of creating a character for the cartoon that actually got brought into the comics and became an actual bona
Harley
fide
Quinn.
character. Yeah.
Of course, yeah, that is remarkable to have an add-on thing like that come in.
Right? She was just supposed to be a one-off episode, and everyone loved her so much she became an iconic character, not just someone who showed up into the comics, but like someone who actually stuck around and, you know, was used frequently, and people bought into her stuff. Now, I think now she's overused. I was saying a little bit earlier, but
Very.
right?
Okay,
Like,
okay. Just one thing about that is that she came in organically because she was popular. She was popular with the girl fans that were watching that cartoon as a kid, and popular with the boy fans. She was a good character, and there's not that many modern day characters that have got popular, like Spawn or whatever. There's a few that have come out.
Oh, come on, Ms. Marvel. Who doesn't want that?
Well,
Echo?
she
People
came
are
out a long
lining
time
up
ago.
for Echo merchandise. It's such a great character.
That's it. I'm calling Shaq. Someone needs to bust this talk up.
So,
No, but anyway, before
but
before
again,
they started crowbarring in all the women chicks, Harley Quinn was a naturally
Women
born
chicks.
popular superheroine or villainess or whatever you want to call it. But she
or
was a
just
popular girl.
even any type of female character that they keep arguing don't exist, right? Like we've always had Princess Leia, like since we were little kids, right? We had Ripley. There have been
something you just did something.
me?
Yeah,
Did I? What did I do?
Are you
you're
underwater now?
underwater. Nice.
Oh my God, I'm drowning. I had a premonition years ago that this is how I was going to die, was by drowning.
Swim up. Swim up.
Let me
Swim
see.
up.
I'll
Come to
find
the
it.
light, camera, Chris.
Right? You just, yeah. Something just happened.
All right, let me see what I can do. I'll go like this.
And here we go. Now it's on my right ear.
Somebody else talk for a bit.
Okay, let me talk. You stop talking.
Okay.
Okay. So what were we saying? We're saying Harley Quinn, great character, brought into the comics, reversed, not shoehorned in. Whereas now it's like I can hear him breathing. Did you put the microphone in your lungs? There you go. No, that's oh my god. That's probably all it was. Talk. You're fucking with me.
Dear Shaq, please help me out of my times of trouble.
I can hear him wheezing laugh. Yeah, you're good now.
We're a full-on operation.
It's like your microphone flipped into your
Probably
shirt.
did.
That's
You
all
know
it was.
why? I lent my microphone to this dude.
And you didn't prep it for another recording?
I ran out of prep.
Ran out of prep. And that's why Batman loses.
It was a busy grinder week. I ran out of prep.
Okay, but I want to throw the X-Men in there as well. I know
In
they're
what way?
not. Well, 90s we got spoiled in cartoons. Great cartoons.
True. Yes.
Right?
So that, which is amazing, right?
Yes.
And I don't know what your point of X-Men is, but like amazing that they were able to make that cartoon pull, because one of our arguments as kids was, how do you keep screwing up attempted superhero movies and TV shows? Like, you know, we grew up, we're older than you. We had the Hulk TV show. We had the Wonder Woman TV show. And again, you made do because they were what they were for the time, but were they great? No, not really. Not at all.
I think for the time, especially the Hulk was great. Like that was actually a decent TV show. It just happened to have the Hulk in it.
Right, but they
It was good.
weren't indicative of the comic books.
Who was
they
it?
weren't-
Greg Banner, his brother or something?
No.
David Banner.
David Banner, thank
Dr.
you.
David Banner.
Oh
Do you know
God,
the
here
story
we
of
go.
that?
Yeah, tell him.
And it always comes back to prep time.
It does. So do you know the story?
I do. But tell it for everyone.
An executive at the studio didn't want to stick with the name Bruce Banner because, and his words were, it's too gay of a name. So they changed, because the character from the comics is Dr. Bruce David Banner. So they took Bruce out of the equation thanks to some executive, because executives know what they're doing. They're smart people.
I.e. Spider-Man 3, one of the greatest superhero movies of all time, right?
Don't hate, we're going to get there.
Yeah, we will.
And they used his middle name and they called him Dr. David Banner. Bill Bixby, the great Bill Bixby. Who
And then
portrayed
you know
him.
what's so silly about that too is like, how could like they think that about a name like Bruce when Batman's name is Bruce Wayne, and even at the time that famous athlete Bruce Jenner, and then
They just don't know what manlyhood and the name Bruce, they go hand in hand.
yeah. All right, never mind. Sorry, as you were saying.
So anyway, so we had those shows when we were kids, but they, like, you didn't see the Hulk the way that he's portrayed in the comic books. I mean, they didn't have the technology, so they did what they could do. So we get that, right? Because otherwise it was going to be cheesy stop motion like the old King Kong movies and stuff like that, where they were trying to make him bigger, but like, you know,
Easy. Those things are the best.
but nowhere near, you know, like even Jurassic Park levels in 1994, right? As far as conveying realism or being able to lose yourself in the moment.
It's a sad thing we've
You
come
own
a
it.
full circle.
You better never let it go,
Or even
It wasn't that
Terminator
good.
2.
because you only get one shot. Do not miss your chance.
I'm just happy we took rap.
And so it's almost like they come full circle where like you get those old like Harry Hausenheiser. I always get his name screwed up. And the guy did the stop motion skeletons in the little black and white movies, and those special
Yes.
effects were practical effects, and they were amazing. And,
I like them.
And then of course you get like Star Wars and these like big breakthroughs like Jurassic Park, where the technology is getting better and better and better. And now it's just have some CGI Eternals.
Yeah.
Ant-Man.
Although, for speedsters on screen, I think the Eternals did a very good job representing a speedster. I thought that shot was pretty cool.
I didn't see the Eternals.
Yeah, you'd have to speak to some people that actually watched that crap.
Yeah.
Fair. I was still watching it.
I was busy watching Echo for the 4th time.
I haven't watched any superhero movies since I walked out of Avengers Endgame. Like,
You
that's
walked
it.
out of Endgame? Wow.
Yeah, and then
And he's
a couple,
never seen the rest of it.
no, but I heard a couple weeks later someone was like, and then Iron Man died, and I said, "What? Iron Man died? What?" I thought you saw that movie. I was like, sort of. We got angry at the end and split.
What made you walk out?
That's a story for another time.
That
So
is
let's
a
get
story
back to-
for another
Let's get
time.
back to Spider-Man and Batman here in the franchises.
Yes,
So I think,
yes.
Cameron Chris was in he was talking about the cartoons and then the 70s shows. And so
And the
after
80s.
that,
And the 90s.
but then you got Flash in the 90s, which was pretty good in like 91 or something.
John Wesley Shipp.
Yes, and that one was, they were trying. I
Yes.
thought that was good.
That was
And,
like pre-CW, but basically CW quality.
Yeah, and of course we're skipping over the Superman era because that was just a whole other thing. We're talking about Spider-Man and Batman. But at the same time, the Marvel movies started coming in. X-Men, right? That came out before the Spider-Man, the first Sam Raimi one, if I'm not correct, in '99.
The X-Men films, came out first. Batman, X-Men, Spider-Man. I believe that's how it went. Or Superman, Batman, X-Men, Spider-Man.
The one thing that I can't understate the most about the Batman aspect of it, though, is now that we're moving into the 80s and the 90s, is that the Batman phenomenon that was 1989. It was literally like, it was Star Wars again. It was that level of hype. It was that level of like everything was Batman. What did you guys already talk about this?
No. He's trying to
you're
do
just
something, and
remembering it.
he's trying to do something. I'm getting scared. Keep going.
I'm not doing
All right.
it.
Well, no, I'm just talking about the craze. And when I was a kid, I thought it was the greatest movie of all time. I don't think so now. But
Which one?
The '89 Batman. It was the cultural craze that like swept the globe of everything Batman. Like, it was Batman lunchboxes, shirts, T-shirt, pants,
100%.
hat.
100%.
And so they tried to recapture that again with the following films, like the Joel
Say the name.
Schumacher ones.
Say the name.
What, the actors or the?
No, the name of the movie, Batman 2, what was it called?
Batman Returns.
God, that was. I should have walked out of that one. Can I tell you my experience of that one, and then I'll shut up for a minute?
This is a great story.
Was after in 1989, everything was Batman for like 3 years, and then this movie
we had
comes
like
out.
McDonald's Batman stuff, cops and shit.
Everything was Batman. Like, it was ubiquitous, and there was no escaping it, and we loved it. And so then we hear our hero Tim Burton is going to come back and do another one with our hero Michael Keaton, and then also even better, Michelle Pfeiffer, who I think is the only good part in that movie. Even I was expecting goodness from Danny DeVito, and even Christopher Walken come as a lights out cast. Anyway, now it's like Christmas time, 91 or 92, right? And so I go to Square One Mall, which is where the big cinema was. And boy, I'm there with my friends, and the lineup was miles out the door, but we had tickets. Like, the place is just packed. All the shows are sold out. It's in like every theater. There's maybe one other theater playing one other movie out of like 14. It was just insane. And we're there for the later show. But my younger brother was there for the younger show, because he's younger.
Earlier show.
Yeah, that's what I mean. For the younger kids show earlier. And so I'm there with my buddies, and there's like three of us, me and two other pals, and we're waiting in line. And then my brother comes staggering out of the theater, and the staff rushes in as fast as they can to start sweeping it up. And then like the crowd starts shuffling forward as they're accepting tickets. And then my brother like comes out like a zombie. And he staggers up to me. He looks me like with a 1,000-yard stare right through me. And he goes, "Brother, don't go." And I looked at him and I said, "But I have to go. It's Batman." He said, "Don't." And then he shuffled by me like a zombie lost on the road, right? And so I'm going, what was that? And so we go into the movie theater. And this is the only time I've ever had this experience in a movie. Was about 2/3 of the way through the movie. My head was reeling because it sucked so bad and it was so boring and stupid. And just like, I'm like, is anybody enjoying this movie? So I look around at the theater, and my one buddy to the left is sitting like this. He's just leaned back in his chair like not even paying any attention to the movie. And I go, right. And then I look over at the other guy, and he's just sitting like this with his head in his hands because it sucked so bad. And then I had the epiphany that, wow, 3 of us all paid money to go see this movie. And one guy's looking up, at like the screen is in front. One guy's up, one guy's down, and I'm looking side to side. Anything was better than watching that movie. Phil.
Muted, but Batman Forever, the third one, got even better. Did it not?
Do you remember my opening statement when I said they all suck?
You had Jim Carrey, you had Tommy Lee Jones, you had Val Kilmer, you had oh crap, who was the female lead in there again?
Alicia Silverstone or whatever.
No. It wasn't Alicia Silverstone.
No, it was Uma Thurman.
No, that's Batman and Robin.
I'm
This is
mixing
making
them
me
up.
nauseous.
Yeah, well, we'll get to Spider-Man soon. It was.
Wasn't it
It was.
Tom Cruise's ex-wife,
Yes.
Nicole Kidman?
Thank you. Nicole Kidman, Drew Barrymore, Chris O'Donnell. Like, again, cast was huge. And
Jim Carrey. Did
Jim,
you say Jim Carrey?
yeah, I said Jim Carrey, yeah. And Tommy
Should I
Lee.
pull out
Yeah.
the poster?
It's a guilty pleasure of mine. I'm not going to lie. If it's on TV, I will pause and watch it.
How
I
old
know.
were you when that came out?
Okay, let me tell you how old I was.
Yeah,
I was in.
that's a good telling sign of whether
Yeah.
you.
I'm in grade
you
5.
connect.
I'm in grade 5.
That's
So-
totally fair to like it then.
I'm 10
Yeah,
years old, right? Or
Yeah, 'cause
11?
if I'm in grade 5 and I'm running home to see G.I. Joe, not knowing what the hell to expect, I mean, I get it. You're clamoring for that bright colors and fun entertainment and outlandish crap. But as someone who was 20 at the time,
Yeah, you're not
so
really.
much.
You're not fucking with it. Yeah.
Not so much. Though I did run around downtown Toronto stealing posters out of bus stops. The huge ass posters that I still have to this day. Because they had the main poster with all the characters, which I have that. And then they had one for each of the characters that were like these full posters. I've showed them on here, but with the one on here before because it's tucked behind my cabinet over here for some weird reason. I think I used it for something, and then I was like, I'll just tuck it back here.
And then we have Batman and Robin. 2 years later,
But do we?
we did because, and here's why it's very important in cinematic history for film. It almost destroyed all superhero films forever,
True.
right?
Rightly so.
And there
Rightly
was
so. Yeah.
plenty of prep on set because Joel Schumacher was the director.
A lot of praying here on this show tonight.
Right.
Oh, man.
Going back to ranch. Going back to the
You
ranch.
can say what you want, but that movie did not have AIDS.
No, AIDS wasn't the problem with that movie. That had enough of its own problem.
Wasn't it? wasn't it the problem?
I mean, the cod pieces, the bat butt, the bat nipples.
You
The
need
credit
to
card.
chill.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. It's
What was
highly
that?
quotable. What killed the
that?
dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
God, and like that was Arnold at like the peak of his popularity too.
That's Arnold at peak.
But also-
Not peak. I guess peak. Like,
Well, no, like he was still untouchable. Like he came out with movies after that that I think were hits before he had like a string of terrible movies.
yeah,
Yeah, but-
Jingle
Still
All the
riding
Way
his
and all that.
85.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Like,
he,
But it was
But
on
that
the
movie was
heels
a
of like
success.
True Lies, which was arguably
That's true.
his most mainstream hit to that point. Because like everyone knew who he was, but you ask the average girl, had they ever watched Commando? No.
or Conan.
Yeah, or Conan. Yeah.
I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis in speaking of strong female actresses, Jamie Lee Curtis, so fuck yourselves. That everybody likes. But Jamie Lee Curtis in True Lies was fantastic. When
Yes,
she's trying
and
to do
she's
the
a great actress that doesn't have any history of rumors of her origin story.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's another topic for another day,
Yes.
right? So that would be the first, call it, trilogy of Batman. Started out with a banger, you could say. Right?
Well,
It did. It was an explosion.
in
Like,
its
that was-
time, yes.
and like,
But
hold on,
upon
remember,
second viewing, no.
no, it's not a great film. But what I'm talking about, if we're talking like, you guys can probably get the stats on which movie made the most money, and also adjusted stats for the time. Right, like because every few
Yeah.
years when the inflation goes up and they raise the movie tickets, like this made, but if you compare it to Star Wars still made more.
Yeah, my dad would always like to point out how Gone with the Wind made more money than any other movie based on inflation.
I thought it was Casablanca.
No, Gone with the Wind.
Was it? Yeah, we're in the trillions for that, aren't we?
So yeah,
Almost.
that's what they
Funny. You know what's funny? Guess what book I'm reading right now?
say. Yep.
Huh.
Enog through what? What was that? Enog through.
All right, it's
Read the
backwards, all right. Gone with the Wind. Scarlett O'Hara wasn't backwards. Vivian Leigh looked fine either way.
So Batman made 411 million or 411.6 million US.
Okay. What about global?
Let me go to Box Office Mojo.
I'm telling you, Batman was international at that point.
The budget was only $35 million on its opening weekend. It made $40.4 million.
I was back before they had to pay double-digit millions to these prima donnas.
Right. Like, it's huge. Huge. And then I guess we can do Batman Returns, which is significantly lower, I believe. Oh, and then there's the Catwoman movie. So domestic opening was larger, but they increased the budget to 80 million. Domestic opening was 45.6 million, and worldwide it only did 266 million.
Do you
Oh,
have an input on your microphone? Because you're peaking.
Am I peaking?
Yeah.
How's
Like,
that?
when you're at that distance, you're great. but
Yeah. When I
you're
get
leaning in
closer?
to read stuff.
Yeah, I will stay back here. I apologize.
No worries.
I just need to do better.
I just want our two listeners to actually hear
Right?
what you're saying.
No, absolutely. I'm one of them.
It's true.
And then Batman Forever got a budget of 100 million. You notice how
and a new Batman.
and a new Batman, and it only did 336 million. And then we have Batman and Robin.
The nipple era.
Budget keeps going up. I guess that's because money's worth less? Is that why? Because like these movies keep making less and less, and they're like, throw more money at it, it'll be better. I don't
Partly
understand.
partly because of the big budget, or sorry, the big return on the first one. They knew they were going to make money, and so
Yeah.
they thought if they put more money into it, and they did. So if you paid 50 million and you made 350 almost back, you're still getting your money back.
That's true.
Right?
That's
And
true.
so like it was still a wise investment for them. And then you're right, they kept doing it, and it's like, I mean, if you put 60 million and you get 120 back, is that a loss? Not really.
It's not. No. So yeah. So
they
that's
didn't care.
exactly what happened here. 125 million was their budget, and worldwide it only did 238 million. So it's not even double, almost double their money back. But the best return is still the first one at 30 million with 411 million like sales. That's huge money. Huge money.
They're never doing that. Like that, and so the next thing that came along that was that big was probably the Spider-Man movies that have like a massive thing like that, and then the Avengers movies blowing up to billions, and then
Yeah.
even then including Spidey there for the extra push for the Avengers, like Cap, Civil War, and stuff like that.
Yep.
So
Correct me if I'm wrong. Was Blade before the Raimi Spider-Man?
You are correct. Yeah. Blade's not. So here's
it's like
something funny.
1998.
98. So here's something funny. And it's not considered a superhero movie by the normies.
Blade?
Not by the normies, not by the general public.
Why?
You know what?
Because
can
they don't
accept
know
that.
he is.
No, I can accept that. To
Yeah.
them, it's a vampire movie, and then
Yeah.
that it stands alone. Blade is one of
Yeah.
the best Marvel movies, and so for the
Yeah.
normie that just thinks it's a vampire movie, I'll be like, "You're right. Yes,
Yeah. For the sake of this, you are correct. However,
Yeah.
there's so much more to Blade than just that, right?
well, there's not that much more. I've read some
Fair.
of those old comics that he was in.
Fair. Fair.
He's like more minor than Moon Knight. You know what I mean?
Oof. Yep.
But to me, Blade is a comic character in a comic movie.
Of
But again,
course.
it's also a standalone vampire movie, and a damn good one at that.
It's like V for Vendetta is not a comic book movie, but it is a comic book movie because it's right out of comic books, but people don't know it is, right?
Nailed it. Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
300, same thing, right? It goes in that realm. It goes in that realm. Whereas when people think comic book movie, they think of like, look what's around our screen now. We got Spider-Man, Batman, Joker, X-Men. That's what they think when they hear comic book movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's like AIDS isn't just for gay men, but if you look at all the advertising, kind of is. It's still there.
Well, I think advertising is an accurate representation of the population, right? Like,
Yeah, like you're trying to reach your target market, so how do you reach them? Through advertising.
right. And so obviously every guy out there that's married to a black chick and is dumb is going to buy the product, or the smart wife, black chick, will. Advertising. No comment?
I got nothing. I got nothing on any of this. I got nothing on any of this.
Anyway, back to Spider-Man. So, is that where the next the part goes?
So we're
Because after
entering
Batman-
the Sam Raimi Spider-Man #1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Batman's been done now for what, a couple years? Spider-Man came out in '99.
Batman. The last Batman was 97.
Right.
And then Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, I want to say it's 2002, actually.
Is that the first one? Okay,
The first one is 2002. So 5 years later.
5 years later. Okay, and then how much money did that sucker pull in?
So yeah,
That was
ridiculous
big.
money. So with a budget of 139 million, it pulled in 825, call it $826 million. That's huge money. Huge money. But it's Spider-Man, right? I believe Spider-Man is one of the most recognizable faces on the planet. I think he's under Mickey Mouse and Mario. I could be wrong.
Makes sense. Yeah, no, that's and again, well earned.
Is that
Mr. Parker.
modified for inflation?
This is. I'm not
That's not how
sure.
inflation works, Camera Chris.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't do math.
I know you're not an economist.
What about the recognizable face of Bruce Jenner? Where does he rank?
I watched the Tom Brady roast, and
With his manly feathered hair part in the middle when he was on Chips. When he replaced, did he replace Ponch or John? I don't even remember.
What?
You don't remember that? Bruce Jenner replaced Ponch or John on Chips in the 70s.
What happened to Bruce Jenner? I used to like that guy.
What did happen to him? You never see him around anymore.
Man, he was fast.
yeah, he won some medals or something, right?
He was a decathlete.
Yeah,
He was like
impressive.
the greatest athlete that you can ever. 10 events. That's what
Yep.
decathlete means.
Yeah, he was a real man.
He was a man's man. Man,
And nobody could tell him otherwise.
right?
Anyway, so now Sam Raimi does the first one, and I have to think. Okay, here's another thing. Number one, I'm a big Macho Man fan. Dig it, and so I don't want to really throw this movie under the bus, but I am absolutely sick to death of origin stories, and I was even by the time that I got that one.
But
I honestly-
had we ever really gotten on screen the Spider-Man origin story to that point?
That's why I'm forgiving it for that. Do you know what I mean? Because that was the first real big mass thing, and you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure my mom would have known Spider-Man's story because she has kids, but for the average person, no. They know Spider-Man, but they don't know the origin. So okay, tell the origin story. And so that movie I thought was okay, but the best of the bunch.
And they covered it off. Sorry, no, don't skip ahead. They covered it off. They covered how he gets his powers at the spider bite. He's still in high school. He's still a budding photographer. He likes photography. He's a smart kid, so he's in the science class. That's why he's on the trip in the first place. They covered off the whole wrestling angle, like you said, with Macho Man. They modified it so it was Bonesaw McGraw, but and they threw Macho Man in because they know who their target audience
It's
is.
clout,
And
yeah.
They knew that would get a pop in wrestling terms.
Imagine training for 35 years just to have a 3-minute cameo in a Spider-Man film.
Yes, you speak in memes. I get it. So
Sorry, I guess I should have prepped more.
you should have. You should have. But yes, so they cover it all off. They portrayed Aunt May in a commensurate way with the comics. You know, okay, you can't have tiny little stick figure frail Aunt May that they had gotten to at the McFarlane point and things, and you know, whatever. But you got this old woman representation.
Ditko originally drew her as a frail, like a
there was frail, but then there was where she got to. Like she was, you would look at the way they were drawing her and going, how is she even supporting her own frail figure with those tiny little limbs? Like they made her, she was shrinking over time. It was weird.
Crypt Keeper stuff. Good.
Yeah.
But that's why. But that added to the value of why Peter was always worried about her. She was a frail little thing. It's not like she's like, she'll be fine. Like, oh my God, she's gonna fall down the stairs. I gotta get home.
Yeah, and they told the Uncle Ben story. They established the much overused "with great power comes great responsibility" line.
Yeah, but still one of the best lines ever. And at that point, it wasn't so overused. So
yes,
all these things. You can't look back at it now with modern glasses.
No. I'm not dissing on it. I'm just saying, like it didn't even, as from my recollection, didn't even come from the comic books. That came from the movie, and they established that. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh, he's got his mic off. He's
showing Aunt May because of how frail she was. I was just adding to your talk.
Good.
Well, and a thing that bothered me as a kid growing up reading these things, why is Aunt May so old?
Right. How old were Peter's parents?
Yeah, Peter's in high school.
Okay, but maybe she's 15 years older than Peter's parents.
Right, but still. she's
So his parents
90.
would have been 40 and she's 60. And people back in the 60s, when you were 60, it was like you were 80.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So a lot of-
So the Golden Girls were only in their 40s.
What?
Yeah,
Is that
I'm pretty sure.
I can't. I
Blanche
can't
said
process
something about I'm 44, and I was shocked when she said that.
that. I'm pulling it up.
I'm 44. Yeah,
well, they were pretty
there it
sexy
is.
older ladies, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Rue McClanahan could get it. She could still get it.
Yeah, she's cute. I'll take her out for dinner.
Okay, it ran from 85 to 92, and B. Arthur was born in 1922. That's 63 years.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying she was Blanche. I'm
I get
41.
what you're
She
saying,
played
the
a
character.
40. Yeah, the characters. She played
There's
a
no way.
41-year-old.
No. Estelle
not pulling
Getty.
that off.
Estelle Getty, the mom was the youngest one, and she was
Got
like
it.
61 or something.
I got it right here. I got it. Hold it up.
You have a clip?
I have a clip. I got a clip. Blanche. I'm 41. Ready?
That's her lying.
41 years old.
I'm 41 years old.
No, that's her lying, like for an interview or a date or
Is it?
41 years old.
Is it?
Yeah.
41.
That would make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's part of
no.
the show. That's Blanche just telling a lie because she's refusing to accept her aging process.
Okay. That makes
I
sense.
watch a lot of Golden Girls.
I'm planning on going back and watching it.
And you're wrong about Estelle Getty. Rue McClanahan was the youngest.
Was she the youngest?
Yep. By 12 years, 11 years maybe?
Okay, but Estelle Getty wasn't the oldest.
Right,
That's-
correct.
yeah.
No, Betty White and B. Arthur were both born in 22. Estelle Getty was 23. Rue McClanahan was 1934.
Oh, she's a spring chicken.
Right?
So Sam Raimi's Spider-Man the first.
Yes.
We accept that. It's pretty damn good.
It was
Yeah.
so okay. So we loved it. Obviously, everyone loved it.
Yes.
It was a big hit.
Minus the
Then-
Power Ranger mask. I never
Yeah,
got
the
never got
eyes-
with it.
Yeah, the eyes, there was a lot to be said about the costume, especially when you had the whole scene of him trying to draw the costume and figuring it all out, but then he comes out with this like hyper advanced material with the weird whatever the plastic bordering and of the
Yes,
weapon
yes.
design and stuff. Yeah, that never
Oh.
sat right with me, but again, fantasy and all, you got to make some allowances.
I was more referring to Norman Osborn's mask.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's actually the worst part.
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about both of those things, but I want to make an interjection that is like Camera Chris was correct when he was talking about he's scribbling out these pictures and then he comes out with this like hyper poly armor, like whatever, and I didn't dig it, but I thought it was an improvement over what happened after the success of Iron Man, where they started making everyone have mechanized costumes to some degree.
Oh yeah, everyone can just
the-
blink
the
and their mask comes out.
overcomplication. Yeah, and there's like all these things like Blue Beetle is now Iron Man, and like
Yeah.
Spider-Man it turns into Iron Man later, and like all these other characters with these fucking fuck off Iron Man. Like I like spandex, and like even the topic for another story is the new Superman thing that just showed, but his costume's all ill-fitting as well, and like
Yeah.
Christopher Reeves is perfect in his spandex, and so back to Spider-Man. Fireman,
Spider-Man.
policeman, Spider-Man. Anyway, I think that comic or that costume is acceptable because it was pre-Robotized days. That's all.
That makes sense to me. 100%.
But yes, I agree with you though. The Green Goblin was terrible. The whole weird helmet thing. And
Especially when you have an actor as good as Willem Dafoe to slap, all they had to do was slap some green latex on top of his face
Oh my God, they
and
blew
like
it.
let him act. Let
They
him
blew
go.
it.
I thought in No Way Home they took his mask off. He ditched the mask, which was good, but unfortunately they never gave him the full like green ears and like yellow eye, like you know what I mean?
Even if you just had a hat, just put on a hat that has like big green ears
Yeah,
and the purple like long toque.
yeah,
Like that would have been fine. But Willem Dafoe's got a crazy enough face. Like he looks demented half the time anyway. He was
that's it.
perfect, and
So
he did a fantastic job.
fun fact, we so Willem Dafoe has crooked teeth, you know, you've seen that, right? Naturally he does. Yeah. So when he is Norman, they actually put a tooth corrector, so there's no gap. And so when he's playing Norman, his teeth are straight. And then when he's Goblin, they take that out, and that's the major difference. And so if it's not announced in the movie, that's the subtle announcement that you can know that Goblin is actually in play, not Norman, which I thought was pretty neat.
I never noticed that, but next time I check that out, I'm gonna look
Yeah, I
for it.
read that.
That's interesting.
But what bothers, so love the movie still. I still love Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 3 was never good, and there's no way in hell that you can find an honest person that thinks that that's a good movie. Superhero or not, it's just a bad movie all the way around.
And this goes back.
They got Topher Grace to be Venom, and he almost saved it.
This goes back to executives making calls for things that are working.
Yep.
Right. Raimi obviously had a plan going forward, right? Follow his view or vision and, you know, direction. And it was working out well. Studio's like, well, people like Venom. Give us Venom. Well, I have this script and I've wanted to do the classic hero or villains before we moved on to, you know, some of the new ones. Because Venom was only, 10 years old? Not even at that point.
And he's another character like Harley Quinn that miraculously got popular sort of out of nowhere.
Right?
It wasn't intended to be.
I'd say he was 91.
91? So
that's my take. I'd say 91, 92.
That sounds about
92. Yeah,
that sounds about right.
First appearance.
They're like, Venom's popular, throw Venom in the movie. All he had to do, and if they had let Sam Raimi do his thing, we could have had an entire movie with just the black suit, and I think the movie could have been fine. You take out all of Venom and just have the black suit. Obviously, you're recasting Topher Grace as Eddie Brock because you have Eddie Brock behind the scenes trying to track down Parker and Spider-Man because he hates them. End of the movie, that's when the switch happens.
I'm kind of shocked by this, but actually it's saying here that first appearance of Venom as Venom is Amazing Spider-Man 300, which doesn't have it here, but that classic cover that might even be on our background, is May 1988.
Really?
Oh my God.
He's even older.
We were babies.
Yeah.
Venom came out when I was 4 years old.
We babies.
Wow. I did not know that.
No.
But that's the example of executives not knowing what the hell's going on, but it's their money, so I guess, you got to do what they say, right? Regardless.
Yep.
But it destroyed the franchise, right? I mean, Raimi even had plans for the Vulture moving forward, and he had a whole Spider-Man universe all set up, and they just Jesus, you're going to jail after this C-63 comes out, eh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna come find you.
Yep.
He's gonna be one of the first people in the gulag.
Yep.
Yeah, laugh now.
I'm
That's my
laughing
origin
because
story.
that's it. That's it.
At the end of this podcast.
So 2 out of 3.
But sorry, what the point I was going to make before we went off on number 3 was what you end up having with all 3 of them is you have the same story basically. So you've got in 1 and 2, you've got Green Goblin in 1, and you've got Doc Ock in the second one. They're the same character, super smart guy who is trying to do something good but turns out to be something bad, and the something bad takes over his good intentions and his mind and turns him crazy. And you know he's crazy because he turns out like Gollum, where he's talking to himself, but then he's talking to his alter ego, and they're even like in the mirror at one point.
Hank
I
Scott
love
does
that
that
scene.
all the time. That doesn't mean you're crazy.
Right. And then 3 was the same thing, just with extra characters, because you can't just have one villain. Batman taught us you need more villains. They at least did the Joker, even though they got a fat old man to play the Joker, which is one of the worst casting choices in the history of Hollywood casting choices. But at least it was one bad guy. And, well, arguably you've got even his top bad guy with the Jack Palance character. But anyways, you've got one main superhero bad guy, supervillain.
Oh, hold on.
in the Joker.
Just about that is in Batman 1, they did it all right, where Jack Palance's guy he got knocked off, and then Joker replaced him, which I think is fine. And I almost feel like if they'd wanted to have 3 Spider-Man villains in a movie, it would have been fine. If they'd had him fight Sandman in like the first act, and then whoever in the second act, and then in the third act, the Venom shows up and stoops back to cause a problem. That could have been handled much better than this collage of garbage they threw at us.
Yep. But what you end up with is, it's a mess, right? Like, I feel like they started that with Batman Returns, where you had Patton Oswalt as the bad guy playing the Joker, or not the Joker, the Penguin, and he murders his wife.
Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, he murdered his wife. Oh, sorry, different story. I mean Oswald Cobblepot.
There you go.
Patton Oswalt did murder his wife, just for record. And
Oswald Cobblepot.
Yes, but he murdered his parents, and Patton Oswalt murdered his wife. Patton Oswalt murdered his wife.
Nobody's saying that he didn't murder his wife. I'm just saying that. So anyway, the Penguin sucked in Batman. Is that what you're trying to say? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but then you had Catwoman as well, right? So we didn't need the 2, but they sort of set that. Again, I blame the executives for sure. As much as I do not like Tim Burton, I don't appreciate anything he's put his little greasy fingers in. I think that
Pee-wee's Big Adventure was good.
Is that Burton?
Yes.
I didn't know that. It was bright.
But okay.
The sun was out.
I like Pee-wee's Big Adventure now. I didn't like it when it came out. I didn't like it for years. So
Not a Beetlejuice guy, eh?
Beetlejuice was
Beetlejuice
okay.
was good too.
Yeah, but again, he had other people involved, so he wasn't left to his own machinations, I believe.
Edward Scissorhands was okay.
I've never seen it. I've never watched.
You didn't miss much.
I know.
I didn't like it. I wasn't a scissors hand. I didn't hate it. It was a okay. Here he is. Cut some bushes. Move on. Right.
But that's my point. You didn't
how
hate
old
it.
were you when it came out, though, right? Like you wouldn't have seen it until
5
later.
or 6. 10.
Yeah, it came out in 1990.
Scissor hands. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was in kindergarten when that came out.
Dude, that's not a good kindergarten movie.
No. So I can't remember when I first watched it, but it just.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Let me take a minute. My phone's getting hot again. I'm gonna just cool it down for a couple minutes. Call you right
It's
back.
getting hot in here, so throw out your phone.
Okay,
Breezy.
good.
So hot,
I'll call you back in a minute.
Okay.
All right, bye.
We'll see you in a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Throw it in a pool like Patton Oswalt did with his wife.
Oh my God.
I'm not. prepped for that.
This is the first I'm hearing of anything like this.
You should look it up.
Oh, Patton Oswalt's wife. Michelle McNamara, 2016. Oh, this is a while ago?
Yeah, McNamara.
Oh, who was she?
And if he wants to sue me, let's go for it. Let's do some disclosure. Or
Yeah, right?
discovery.
Yeah, because if it goes to court,
Yep.
he's got to open it all up.
Let's talk about it.
You know, he'll just go to YouTube and like, Camera Chris said mean stuff about me.
Yeah.
Try this, my best Patton Oswalt voice. Yeah, yeah. Mind you, I did like that scene in Parks and Rec when he was doing the filibuster. And
I haven't seen all of Parks and Rec.
it's all right.
Yeah, I like it. Look, I got nothing bad to say about it. It was on the heels of, or in the midst of The Office, and I just felt like it was trying to be The Office.
Yes.
And trying to be, the next breakout anti-sitcom kind of thing.
Yep.
And I just didn't get into it. My kids love it.
Community, I never got into either.
That too. It was the same thing, right? Like it came out like a year or two late after.
I didn't even
Rec, I believe.
I didn't even get into The Office until COVID.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was not an Office guy. Because like what you said, it's anti-sitcom, and I like sitcoms.
Yeah.
So, and people are like, well, if you need a laugh track, you're dumb. I'm like, I don't need a laugh track, but you know what? I like the fact that it's filmed in front of a live studio audience, and timing is much different when you're filming in front of a crowd. It's like saying if someone watches a live comedy special, they better mute the laughter. That's so dumb. Like, I've always hated that. Oh, you need to know when to laugh because they have a laugh track. I'm like, no, you idiot.
No, and there are great sitcoms even to this day that aren't filmed in front of a live studio audience that are great. But it was The Office came out, and then obviously the American version of The Office. And
so which one are you? Which one do you like?
I got into the American one before the British one, so
Yeah.
it's more my flavor. But I do appreciate, obviously, Ricky Gervais and his type of comedy. I went and saw him live when he was here.
I like
last year.
Ricky. Yep.
But you had The Office, then shortly after came 30 Rock, which I also liked.
I'm a big fan of 30 Rock.
And so it was those two, but then I felt like it was just my impression at the time. I'm not saying they were. It just felt like it was one year after another, and I think
Got
I'm
watered
wrong.
down.
I think Community and Parks and Rec came out the same year. I thought it was like within a year or two of each other, but according to this, they came out the same year. But it just
Oh, wow.
it
But that
seemed
further
like-
proves your point of the watering down of the same style of comedy, right?
Yeah. But now, mind you, and I was probably just busy because that was around the time my kids were born and everything. It was good timing for all of them because the sitcom itself was kind of dying, right? Like we were on the heels of the end of Seinfeld and Friends and those types of things.
Yep.
And
And
there
Frasier
weren't-
even.
Yes, and there weren't many good sitcoms, like actual good and people I know they love
Big Bang.
Big Bang Theory, and I defy you to tell me one joke that's actually funny. in
That's
that
exactly
goddamn show.
what I said. So, no, I defy you to tell me one joke in the show.
And I get, but I
That's
so,
what I don't like about Big Bang is there's no jokes. It's quirky characters with quirky observations, but there's no joke.
right. And I get the term situational comedy. I get that, but you give me Sam Malone in the last 3 years of Cheers over anything that's been produced in the 2000s, like that is for me primo sitcom. You give me Al Bundy. Who's this guy?
New panelist.
We've been talking sitcoms. I don't even know where we're at now. Like
We were put on pause for you, and we got off onto sitcoms.
so back on track to our Batman v Spider-Man. So moving into the new era, so the Spider-Man 3 was so bad that they didn't pursue a fourth one, even though a fourth one was in the works prior to that movie coming out.
Yep.
So you move on from there, and then you've got the new era of
sorry to interrupt, but
here.
sorry to interrupt. I just want to back up because I think I missed a good part of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You guys can hear me?
What?
And you're back.
Okay, I think.
Are you kidding me?
Hello? Saying connection lost.
Yes, it does.
Can you hear me now?
Rephrase your wording. Your phone doesn't like what you say, so rephrase it. Maybe that'll work. Oh no, I think I lost him again.
It's a good.
I'm gonna
good
try and do
baseline,
that.
though.
How's that?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to try again.
Oh, he's back. No, he's gone.
Ah. Okay, so, you wouldn't have been into Cheers, right? Like it was. way
Cheers
before.
was before my time. I've gone back and watched episodes here and there, but I haven't done the whole series yet. It's on my list. My sitcoms were, and I wasn't even a big Friends guy. My sitcoms were Simpsons, even though it's adult animation, but Simpsons.
Still in that genre, I
Right?
believe.
I think so. I was a big Home Improvement guy, and Seinfeld, and Family Matters, and
Yeah, I never got into Family Matters. It missed me. I mean,
yeah. Well, it was for my generation and my parents. I think it was like because I was about the same age as Urkel, so I grew up with Urkel and Laura and all them. Dinosaurs, I really enjoyed.
yeah, I never got into that.
No.
No.
So those were my sick. Oh, and Frasier. Frasier I loved. So
Which is funny because Frasier being a spinoff of Cheers.
right? And the new Frasier I tried. I wanted to. I really did. My wife tried. She wanted to. But there's nothing like she finished it, but I'm like, and she's like, meh. Like it's not the same thing. But I respected the fact that he left Seattle and left the old cast because you don't want to just do another Frasier. They went with his son and whatnot. I respect that because it worked for Frasier. But Frasier became his father and didn't stay Frasier. Does that make sense?
No, like why even bother with the show then?
Yep. And
Like call it something else. Just make give Kelsey Grammer a show and call it something else.
yeah. But again, like Miles Morales and Spider-Man, you can't do new things. You have to slap that label on it because they're not willing to take the chance anymore. And
I don't even see it on Kelsey Grammer's IMDb.
that's how bad it was.
The Beast?
No, the new Frasier.
Oh.
It might
His
be
Beast
under
is pretty
Frasier.
bad.
You didn't like him as Beast? I thought that was the best thing about X3.
I was just kidding. Yeah, I thought he was good as Hank McCoy.
Oh, you know why I'm on David Hyde Pierce's IMDb? That makes
Yeah,
sense.
wrong brother.
Well, because they didn't bring him back, which was one of my reasons why I wouldn't even give the show a chance. I'm like, obviously, John Mahoney's dead,
Yes.
so you're
That's
not bringing
fine.
him back, and they didn't recast him. Did they bring back Jane Leeves?
Roz
Yeah.
came back for an episode or two.
No, Jane Leeves is
Daphne?
yes, Daphne.
No, they didn't bring back any of the Niles or Daphne family, I don't think. Not even for a cameo. I could be wrong, though. I didn't watch it, but I remember reading that Roz came back for a bit, and,
God, she's still smoking hot, though.
oh, yeah. Well, once a babe, always a babe. You were going to say something about Spider-Man 3, Hank.
I was going to say something about Spider-Man 2 because we were in the midst of ripping
And he's
apart
fucking
Spider-Man
gone again.
3.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Who, me?
Every time he talks, it just,
Every time.
I don't
You kidding
understand.
me? You're screwing with me. Fuck you. Good one. Good one. too.
All right. Anyways, you were saying.
And so
you were saying
anyway,
what?
the thing about Spider-Man 2 that made it, I think, the best of that series, even better than number one. And Cameron Chris was talking about the cookie cutter bad guys. That's a whole other discussion. But the thing
And the plot, basically, the plot is still cookie cutter. The same.
absolutely.
It's a stencil 1 and 2 and essentially 3, right?
And so this is something that I rarely say, that the highlight of it, I thought, was the two scenes, one with the train when he was stopping the train, and I just thought that action piece and like the way he was web slinging around New York City, I thought was just mind-blowingly awesome graphics. And the best was when he went to Dr. Octopus's setup and he had that energy ball and he's like, "Don't I can contain it." I was like, "Oh, you fucking idiot, you can't." And he's like, "I gotta go Spider-Man this." Shit. And then like in that scene when that ball was glowing and Spider-Man was jumping around, I basically stood up and I was like, "You finally did it." Like I thought that was the best. You're talking about the Incredible Hulk didn't have good effects and it was meh, but like that point in Spider-Man 2, I was like, that was the best thing I'd seen since Superman 2,
Well,
when I thought a man could fly.
You're
It was
getting the
amazing.
tentacles of Doc Ock, these comic characters that we've read all our lives. You're getting the like, holy shit, they're doing it, right? Like,
And the energy was
yep.
oh
Yeah,
my
the whole
God.
thing. No, I agree with you. Yeah, it was great.
For me, it wasn't even that. It was the simplistic when he was robbing the bank. He was throwing literal bags of gold coins at it. I'm like, I've seen this scene so many times in so many different mediums, and now I'm seeing it live. Like it was a cookie cutter movie, but that's what I love about it, because it is a cookie cutter superhero movie.
Do you know what's ironic about that movie? Do you know what Patton Oswalt's favorite part is? It's when the glass shatters and kills Doc Ock's wife.
Just tell him to sue you again.
He can try. Do it. I dare you.
So anyway, yeah, Jordan, I thought the bank robbing scene was another one. And so what I'm saying is, really at that point, I thought that they'd made it was the first good jump I'd seen past anything they'd come out with up until that point, including the X-Men and including the Flash in the 90s, including all of them.
And it was good. They made Doc Ock an actual scary villain. Like when Pete's sitting there in the cafe with Mary Jane, and all of a sudden they do the effect, his spider sense, and the fucking taxi cab comes flying through, like everything. It was a fucking great movie. It was. You know what? I'm gonna watch it today. Like, it's so good.
Yeah, that one.
You're muted, Jay.
I'm just talking to the wife.
Oh, I see.
Give me one sec.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder what they're talking about.
I'm back.
Bye.
Don't Patton Oswalt your wife.
Well, yeah, I can't have it on camera, at least.
Yeah. Neither do he.
all
That's why
kinds of
he's been
trouble.
able to lie about it so successfully.
Sue him.
So anyway, I thought that the special effects was the highlight of that movie. The cookie cutter, yes, and cookie cutter right out of the comics. It was a classic Spider-Man story with Doc Ock, and I thought that was the pinnacle of the Spider-Man arc. Number 2 that was it.
So let's I think we did movies pretty well. I'm gonna have to wrap it up shortly.
Well, you know what? You said it before. We should do this as a two-parter. Like,
Yeah,
we've
because
got
we
so much
haven't
more
even hit
ground to cover.
We haven't even hit the actors that have portrayed them, right?
Right.
Or even the cartoons. We didn't go head to head. We just talked about them. There is so
yeah, we
much.
We got to fill it in and then move forward.
Yeah. Of the portrayals of the movies only. Okay, we're not talking about the actors that were in the movies. We're just talking about the movies as a whole. Camera Chris, what do you give? Is it Batman or Spider-Man?
Spider-Man.
And this is only the first trilogy. I'm sorry. We're not even into the Nolans.
Right.
And Andrew Garfield.
Hank. Yeah, we're not even into Andrew Garfield.
Christian Bale
Underrated
versus Andrew Garfield.
underrated Spider-Man. I'm sorry. Underrated.
No,
No, you can
he's right where he belongs.
Peter Parker, he was shit. Spider-Man, I thought he was pretty good. You know why I liked him? And I realized
It was
this
the
recently.
jumping around. Hey man,
It was that actually.
really?
Because he didn't need to take off his mask to show his emotions, where every other Spider-Man has to take off their mask to be like, oh, you can't see me crying, so I have to take off my mask. And every superhero movie, 50% of the time, you get one shot of them wearing their mask. One shot. And
Yes.
every other amount of the time, they have no mask on. It's like, okay. That's why they couldn't even do Civil War properly. It wasn't about
shit.
superhero registration, because
So
everybody knew
shit.
who they were. Because there's no secret identities in superhero films. That's another topic for another day, though.
Yes.
Hank, Spider-Man, or Batman? Tim Burton or Sam Raimi?
Who wins?
Yeah. Which one did you like better?
Begrudgingly, I guess I'll have to say Spider-Man.
Begrudgingly.
But that takes into effect of I was there for the Batman '89 craze, and like I said, that craze was like Star Wars, like it did change
You
everything.
might say it was crazy.
No, I wouldn't say that. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to, on the strength of mostly Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 1 for being a competent story for the normies. I think that was a good way to deliver it. So based on the strength of those two movies versus the, like, if you can call it the Batman Returns, and then that slew of Schumacher shit, like, if that counts as one garbage. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to Spider-Man.
Yeah. What I just want to touch on what you said and just elaborate a little bit. If Batman had have done it differently, or if Burton had have done it differently and came out swinging just as hard with Batman and Robin, we would have seen where Sam Raimi was kind of going up and up and up, right? Obviously, Spider-Man 3, plummeted. That was its Batman and Robin, but Batman started up here and just roller coastered. If you had seen even a little bit of an uptake of popularity and good storytelling in Batman and Robin, we would be having a different conversation here today. Because even though Michelle Pfeiffer, I enjoyed her as Catwoman, yeah, she nailed it. Like right in, she just nailed that.
Whipping everything.
She just whipped
Whipping.
it. Yeah. And the Penguin, just him becoming a
Max
sewer.
Shrek.
Yeah.
They named Christopher Walken after the old vampire from
Right?
Nosferatu. Really? Come on, that was so stupid.
Yeah.
Penguin became Killer Croc without the muscle or the threat. Does that
Killer
make sense?
suck.
Like killers suck. So yes, I will have to give it to Spider-Man as well. So that would be round 1 goes to Spidey, and we'll keep tallies and go from there. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up here. My kid needs me.
All right.
Any last
See you, Dad.
words? Any last words, Hank?
No. Go Spider-Man.
Go Spider-Man. Go Spider-Man. Camera Chris, any last words?
Yes.
Did you prepare any last words?
No, not really. So just off the top of my head, Alec Baldwin killed a person.